Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, January 16th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Matt Robinson with you, ready to break down a huge Thursday card. It is massive, trust me. We've got a huge slate, 13 games in total here in the NHL for this Thursday. It's a good card, a really good card in my opinion. So hopefully this is going to be a big day and a big night ahead. Looking forward to talking these games out, but there's definitely some good opportunities here on the board. Of course, briefly, recapping yesterday, there were two games. The Buffalo Sabres, after Lindy Ruff was not happy with their performance and their third period collapse against Seattle, a great response from them. They get the early goal against Carolina, 1-0, and they go on to a 4-2 victory in that game. First period over, man, frustrating. They score in the very first minute. Unfortunately, not another goal after that. So no good with the first period over, best bet. But everything else I recommended on yesterday's show hit. The rest of the over by Fecta legs hit. We got the full game over in Buffalo with that 4-2 Buffalo win. And of course, we saw Edmonton finally make Minnesota look like a team that's missing their four best players. It's one thing to beat San Jose, and it's one thing to beat some of the teams they have without Kaprizov and their three best defensemen. But now we've seen Minnesota lose to Vegas, lose to Colorado, and then lose last night to Edmonton. You're supposed to lose to teams, the elite teams, when you're missing that much key personnel, like the Minnesota Wild are. And certainly last night, Edmonton gets the job done with the victory over the Minnesota Wild last night. So we'll take it. A card we didn't love, but we were on the over by Fecta in both games, and 3 of the 4 parts of that hit. So no complaints with what we saw on Wednesday night. Alex, your thoughts? I know you passed, so that's why you weren't on the show yesterday. But anything observation-wise from last night that you saw?
Not really, like you said. I mean, the Minnesota Wild, continue to struggle without having so many of their key players. We talk about cluster injuries in other sports all the time, but the cluster injuries on defense have really now started to take a toll on the Wild. And it's amazing that it didn't happen sooner with all the injuries that they've had throughout the entire season. Literally, from the first week of the season on, they've missed at least one key player in their lineup. They haven't had a full lineup, I think, more than 3 games the entire year. So that's it's been, kudos to them for what they've been able to do in the first half of the season, but I think this might catch up with them the longer that they miss those guys. So it could be a pretty far fall for the Wild, especially when you look at how everything's going in the Western Conference and in that wild card race. If they fall out of the top 3 in the Central, they're in some serious trouble, because there's a lot of teams in the rest of that Central, and of course in that Western Pacific quadrant, that will definitely be gunning for those last 2 spots.
Yeah, no doubt. Matt, anything you want to add about what we saw Wednesday night? And also mention you're off to Nashville. You're doing some roller hockey competition here coming up.
No, so Nashville's actually next week for work. I'm headed to Long Beach, California, Irvine, Corona area. So down in SoCal, away from the fires. But yeah, I leave here in a few hours. So I'm going to actually be watching the 4 and 5 o'clock Pacific time games from the bar at the airport, which I enjoy doing a lot. So I'll probably be a bit heavier on the early games just because I'll be in the
Alex knows a thing or two about drinking at the bar at an airport.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a must.
Yeah, we've talked about it before because he's posted stuff. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if my flight's at 7:30 in the morning. I'm there at like 5:45 so that I can get a few drinks in before we get on the plane.
Yep. But, beat the security and get there, get your spot and be there comfortably. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I'll probably be a bit heavier on the early slate. I'll probably be in the air for some of the later stuff, but the one thing I am excited for is we do have 2 ESPN games tonight. Yeah. One of them starts at 6:30 Pacific, which is when my flight takes off. So at least during the whole flight, I'll be tuned into that Colorado Edmonton game. But yeah, as far as last night, only real miss was your best bet. I was on that with you, and we talked before the show. There was fucking 8 chances in the first period in that Buffalo Carolina game. There was a point in the game Carolina didn't have a goal and they had 27, 28 shots on net, and then they finally got the floodgates to open a little bit for them. But yeah, nothing too major. I leaned Edmonton last night. I didn't take them. Again, it's to me, Minnesota, what they've done with these injuries has been pretty impressive. But I think, now that you've got teams trying to lock in seeds, trying to really make that playoff push back half of the season, I think when they play a top 5 or 6 team and you're missing those kind of players, it's just going to be tough. So, but yeah, nothing real to add to last night. Big card tonight, so definitely looking forward to it.
It is a huge card. We got a lot of really interesting games on tap. You mentioned an ESPN doubleheader, another national TV doubleheader tonight, and the first game of it is the game that leads off our Thursday slate. It's the Detroit Red Wings and the Florida Panthers. We've got Florida minus 260, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. The 7-game win streak for the Detroit Red Wings getting snapped, obviously against San Jose the other night. Really, I think Justin Hall on defense and Ville Husso played a significant role in snapping that winning streak for Detroit, because Justin Hall was so bad that even Tom McClellan said it after the game he was terrible, which means you know how bad he was on the ice. And Ville Husso was just he hasn't had a good season, and he did not have a good game against San Jose, and you could tell he hadn't played in a while. And the result was a 6-3 loss at home to the San Jose Sharks. Only the second loss under Tom McClellan. They are still 7-2 in 9 games with him as the head coach. We'll see if they can bounce back here in this spot against Florida. When I look at this game and I see Florida now, and the money's come in on Florida, because this was minus 210, actually minus 230. It's gone up to minus 265 in a lot of spots here. A lot of people liking Florida. I think they see that they're 9-1 Florida in the last 10 meetings against Detroit. They've really dominated the Red Wings. But this is a Florida team that, as I've said for several games in a row, you look at their recent 10-game stretch, they got shut out back-to-back games at home by the Lightning and the Canadiens. The 5-3 win against the Rangers, when the Rangers were at their lowest point of the season, I might add, was not overly impressive, and they had to come back from a deficit there to beat the Rangers. They lose 3-1 at home to Carolina. They just get past Pittsburgh, 3-2 in a shootout. Lose to Utah or Colorado on the road after that. Beat Utah 4-1. Lose back-to-back against Boston at home. Philadelphia, they have a 3-2 lead. They lose 4-3. And then they just escape New Jersey with a shootout win 2-1. They're not winning games in dominant fashion. They're not playing their best hockey. There's that January malaise is kind of affecting Florida and a lot of the good teams right now, where, you're just doing it. You're grinding out these games. You're grinding out these wins in spite of you not playing your A game. And Florida's done that a bunch. Another thing that concerns me is, when's the last time Florida's won 2 in a row? I think when you look at the schedule here for the Panthers, you got to go all the way back to December, the last time they put a win streak together. I mean, 2 or more wins. I mean, it's been a problem for Florida to put 2 wins in a row together. You got to go back to almost the middle of December to see the last time that happened. I think Detroit's a live dog here. I am concerned, obviously. They've been dominated and smoked by Florida over the years. But the fact remains, we're talking about a Florida team that, go back to December 16 to 22. They won 4 in a row. And that's the last time they've won multiple games in a row. I think it's a good enough price. Talbot and Bobrovsky are your goalies. I'm going to take Detroit here at the big number, upwards of plus 220 here on the Detroit Red Wings in this game. A big dog for me to start off the card with the Red Wings here. We'll split it with the team total as well on Detroit, which is over 2.5 at plus money. Now, I am on the over by Fecta here, but this is a smaller over by Fecta for me. I'm on it because it's cashed in the majority of Detroit games since McClellan arrived, but I am scared that the under has been dominant head-to-head with the two teams, Panthers and Red Wings. So that's why it's a smaller over by Fecta, but I am on that as well. Primarily, though, Detroit money line team total split. I think they're live here, and I don't see the degree of dominance in Florida right now as a minus 260 favorite. Alex, what do you think here to start the card, Detroit, Florida?
Yeah, when I saw this last night, it was around 180, 185. I was kind of just trying away from looking just towards the totals because, like I said, I like the over by Fecta in this. Even though we've seen under history with these two teams, that's just been a solid trend to back with Detroit, and especially off of a loss. I feel like the overs are definitely live. But now I see plus 225 about online. So I grabbed a small piece of that, and I'm going to tell you as well on that team total. It's rare that you have a spot like this where you get a 5.5 and then you got a plus price with a side on that team total at over 2.5. So 4 plays, I'm right there with you. Over bifecta, might even go over trifecta, maybe even sprinkle a little bit on that, both teams to score in the first. And then definitely going with that team total to line up with the dog.
All right, Matt, what do you think here? Red Wings, Panthers.
I've got nothing new to add. I was going to be on Detroit, their team total over 2.5 at plus money, and then the over bifecta. So seems like a mutual agreement on this game that Detroit is live. Obviously Florida's at home. Could they win this game? Of course, but at plus 210 with how Detroit's played, they finally got the loss. I mentioned this after on Tuesday after Dallas lost to Ottawa. Sometimes when you're streaking, you're trying to get to that next game. How many can we run this up? And then, you get distracted. So sometimes it's nice to get that loss so you're back to reality, and then now they can just play hockey. So at plus 210, I like Detroit here.
Yeah, I should have been on Buffalo in some form, especially the first period. I am ticked that I missed that. I didn't bet that. And I mentioned it on the show. Lindy ripped them a new asshole after the Seattle game. You figured they were going to come out strong. Carolina's been much worse than mediocre on the road. They've been a losing team on the road, Carolina, for a solid month now. So, yeah, I'm disappointed I didn't take Buffalo in some form, maybe because I kind of hinted at it yesterday on the show. But credit to those who did. Jonathan Davis and Jonathan Berggren. Jonathan talking about Jonathan. Jonathan Berggren. 2 goals in 3 games versus Sergei Bobrovsky, plus 600. Yeah, I think, like I said, Detroit, that's another thing McClellan's gotten back on track here with the Red Wings. Their power play, a lot of their best players have been good for them. And certainly chipping in offensively for this team. See if that continues here tonight. Raymond's been good. DeBrincat has heated up under Todd McClellan. And Lucas Raymond continues to produce. I think Marco Kasper is still great value on the top line as long as he stays there for the Red Wings going into this game. So those are some props I'd be interested in. Keep an eye on Mackey, Samoskevich. I'm seeing him with Luostarinen and Bennett. So he's with Kuhlman, Luostarinen, and Bennett on the second line. So maybe a little bit of value there. And one last thing to note about Detroit to back up why I like them tonight. They're 2-0 on the road under Todd McClellan. They've only played 2 road games. They won them both. And one of them, I think, was the best game they played under Todd McClellan when they went to Winnipeg against the Jets, and they beat Winnipeg 4-2, and they dominated them in the first period. So they've shown they can go on the road, beat a really good team under McClellan. We'll see if they can duplicate that here tonight. All right, San Jose, Columbus. Columbus minus 170, home favorites, 6 the total in this one, Sharks and the Blue Jackets. We have Alexander Georgiev confirmed in net, and I'm not surprised by this. Ryan Warsofsky probably seeing that, look, he's had a couple of good starts now. The Detroit game, the one before that, was against, I believe, Utah, and even though it was a loss, he played pretty well. See if he can continues. So I think when you look at this Sharks and Jackets game, I know he's been better the last 2 starts. I need to see it again one more time from Mr. Alexander Georgiev before I'm fully convinced that, wow, he's really putting it together and getting on a nice, strong run here in net. I got to see a little bit more before I'm ready to say that. Columbus, continues to be just lights out, a machine here on home ice. 15-5-3, 3-2 shootout win against Philadelphia in their last home game. Overall for the season, I believe, 14-4 overs at home for Columbus this year. That's what I like here. I like first period and full game over bifecta. I like that here with Merzlikins and Georgiev. This is definitely not Bobrovsky of the Columbus days versus Nabokov here for San Jose. Not even close with these 2 goalies here for these 2 teams. So I like the over bifecta. I'm tacking on Columbus team total as well in this game, over 3.5. They have scored 4 goals or more in every recent time they've hosted the San Jose Sharks. And prior to Philly, their last home game, they had scored 4 goals or more in every recent home game as well. So I like the Jackets team total over 3.5 here as well, which you can get a nice price on that. Pretty close to even money, and also over bifecta here with Sharks and Blue Jackets. Games in Columbus have also trended over with these 2 teams head-to-head. Columbus just scores goals at home. I would expect more of the same. And if anything, San Jose had been struggling to score. Maybe the 6 goals they erupted for against Detroit will kind of give them a little offensive confidence now moving forward here into this game tonight against the Jackets. Alex, what do you think here, San Jose, Columbus?
Yeah, I'm keeping this simple and just going with the full game over 6. I got minus 115 at BetMGM earlier today. That's the only play I'm rocking with. I might look for first period over in game, But like I said, this is a big card, so I'm just kind of keeping things, simplified, not going too big and spreading too far out on a lot of games. So this one just is strictly with the full game over.
Yeah, again, the recent games in Columbus, 6-4, 5-3, 4-2. All of them Columbus victories. All of them they've scored at least 4 goals. So that's why I'm on the team total here as well. And again, Georgiev's got to show me a little bit more before I'm saying he's back and a high-quality goaltender. I need to see a little bit more. As far as props, I like most of all, there's a bunch that I like, but I'll just isolate one player on each team. Fantilli for Columbus. I still think he's undervalued and will continue to be as long as he's filling that top line center role with Sean Monahan out. And William Eklund is really heating up for San Jose. I would target him on the San Jose side of things. He has scored, I believe, in 4 of the last 5 games. Zetterlund, I think, is worth a look, too, for San Jose. Start to see his offensive game coming back a little bit. So those are the props I like the most here with this matchup. Matt, what do you like here, San Jose, Columbus?
This is probably going to be a pass game for me with 13 games on the card. I lean Columbus, of course. I'm not betting against them at home, but minus 170 is a little juicy for me. I think San Jose is one of those teams that, on any given night can get a win. Doesn't happen super often, but, they are kind of a scrappy little team. So I could make a case for Columbus team total, but I think for me, this is just going to be a pass.
Nothing wrong with that on a big card. Washington, Ottawa, even money, minus 110 both sides. The total here sitting at, looks like 5.5. Yeah, it is 5.5 here, shaded to the over just slightly here with the Capitals and the Senators. Ottawa, of course, a nice run they've put together. All of it with the young Finnish netminder, Levi Merilainen for the Ottawa Senators, who has really been solid for them. And it's funny, Justin Peters is the goalie coach of Ottawa. He was almost going to be on this show, but then he gets the coaching opportunity. So that precluded that from happening. But I actually sent him a message yesterday saying, great job working with Levy. Good to see him playing well. He says he's a great pro, he said, about Levi Merilainen. Really takes his craft to heart. And you can see that. You can see it in the post-game interview that he had against after they beat, I think it was Dallas at home on Sunday, where he's like, how do you feel? It's got to be great getting this win, playing well. It's like, it's work for me. It's business. You just come to work and you got to get the job done. I like that attitude, man. Serious, serious about his craft. I like that for a young goalie like that, Levi Merilainen. So he's played great for Ottawa. So is the other guy that's going to be in net here tonight for Washington. Logan Thompson is on a great run in between the pipes as well for the Capitals. Although he hasn't been confirmed in net yet, I do expect him to be in. Now, there are some injuries for Ottawa, and the latest is Thomas Chabot. He has been ruled out for this game tonight due to an injury, so he will be out. So there's going to be some shuffling going on for Travis Green and his lineup, especially on the back end on the blue line here tonight. Looks like Sanderson, Artem Zub, Tyler Klevin, Nicholas Matinpalo is going to enter the lineup. Donovan Sabrango. Here's a guy that has been in Belleville most of the year, and Nick Jensen will be the third pair. So, now you got a couple cluster injuries on the blue line. That is somewhat concerning. Chabot, Hamonic, Jacob Bernard, Docker are all out here for Ottawa. So that means it's going to be a shit ton of minutes for Jake Sanderson. Get ready for almost 30 minutes, probably moving forward, as long as they've got some of these injuries here on the blue line for Ottawa. I like Washington and I like Ottawa. These are two teams I've been backing a lot. Ottawa, I've been on them the last few games with the young goalie stepping up. I really am not in a rush to bet against either one of these teams right now. I would lean to the draw here in this game if I were to get involved in anything. I think we have a chance maybe to see overtime here. And someone was asking in the chat, Ian, do you ever like an under? Well, I don't bet many unders, if any. I bet a few selectively here and there, but I don't bet many, and there's a reason for that. My ROI goes into the shitter with betting unders, and this is across all sports for the better part of my career. It's been a horrible bet for me. I have not done well with unders. I don't love betting unders anyway, but then you factor in that I've done piss poor with unders in my career, and that's why I don't bet many. So there's your answer. But if I were to look at an under on this card, this is one of the games I would look at. I could see this one being a bit of a lower scoring game here. Two goalies in form. Even with the injuries on the back end to Ottawa, they've played a tighter style of game the last few. Maybe that continues here tonight. So lean draw, maybe I sprinkle on that. Lean under, that's about it. Alex, what do you think here? Washington, Ottawa.
I like the under live in this game because I do like the first period over 1.5. I laid -110 with that. I think we see good pace early, and then I think this game could slow down. That's why you said draw. Draw is definitely something worth looking at here in this one. This is a draw season kind of a spot. Not necessarily that these teams play to the draw or that they can, but this is definitely one of those kind of games where both teams know they need the points. If it's tied late, they're not going to risk anything to try and get that second point or end up being with 0. And so this is one where I would sprinkle in the draw. I do have Caps -105, though I grabbed that earlier as well. This is just too cheap of a price and too good of a team right now. And I know, like I said, you've been back in the Sens. The Sens have been kind of in good form. But I think this is a game where Washington kind of sees this as, okay, here's a team that's kind of up on the rise. And I think Washington's kind of changing their mindset a little bit. Understanding that they're a good team now, we have to play like one of the top teams of these. We can't afford to lose to a team like Ottawa. So I'm on the Caps. I'm on first period over, and I'll be looking for a live under if we cash that first period over.
There you go. So first period over, but a live under. Alex thinking it'll slow down later in the game as it progresses. Yeah, I don't fault anyone. Everyone in the chat talking about it. Jacob Chychrun returning to Ottawa. I believe this is the first time he's played in Ottawa as a member of the Washington Capitals. Indeed, it is. So this is his chance to return. He really liked playing there. So what better way to serenade and enjoy your return to Ottawa by maybe scoring a goal? So, or getting an assist. Anything, Chychrun, I wouldn't argue with it. Goal prop, assist prop, point prop, power play point prop as well could be worthy of consideration here for Jacob Chychrun tonight as he makes his return to Ottawa as a member of the Washington Capitals. So nothing wrong with those particular looks. Video tribute for sure, Rich H. I'm sure of it. Hell, like I said, if Pierre Engvall's getting a video tribute for Toronto as a member of the Islanders, surely Jacob Chychrun deserves one with him going back to Ottawa here tonight in this particular game. Matt, what do you think here? Capitals, Sens.
I lean Washington here. I think, without the Ottawa decor having some bumps and bruises, I think this, definitely could be a good game. It still should be a good game either way. Ottawa's playing well, but I agree with Alex. I think Washington's kind of got to take that next step if they are going to be, a top team in the East. These are games you've got to win, even though it is on the road. I'm seeing they're like 6-1-3 in their last 10 games, so I think that continues tonight. And I think, anytime you can get a team, I think they're pushing. Yeah, they're 1 win away from 30 wins already this season, and you can get them at basically a pick 'em. I'm gonna lean Washington. As far as totals go, I go back and forth. I do think the first period over is worth a look. Generally, when I take the first period over, I take the full game over too. But I'll probably stay off the totals in this one just because I'm not really sure. But I do like Washington.
I think it's a healthy mix of overs and unders tonight because, I'm on my share of overs, but I think there's a few that definitely point to under. This is one of them. The next game is actually one of them. The Sheldon Keefe return to Toronto because remember, the Devils and the Leafs have played each other twice this year. Both of those times, though, were in New Jersey. So this is officially Sheldon Keefe's return to Toronto. He'll be behind the bench at Scotiabank Arena for the opposing team for the first time. Taking on his old team, the Leafs here. Toronto 2-0 this year against New Jersey. Can they make it 3-0 here tonight? New Jersey -130, road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. We see a lot of Devils love in the chat. Devils money line here. I like Toronto in this spot. Here's why. Toronto, 3-game losing streak. They have not lost 4 in a row yet this year, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So if they lose tonight, it would be their first 4-game losing streak of the season. Yes, John Tavares is out. As injury suffered in practice yesterday. That's not what you want to see, obviously. It's bad enough when you suffer injuries during games. It's like an extra blow for a team when it's a practice injury, and he's out tonight. So that's definitely not what you want to see. Joseph Woll, by the way, confirmed in net for the Leafs. But you have a Toronto team that has not played great hockey on this homestand. They lose to Vancouver. They get shut out in that game. They lose to Dallas 4-1 the other night. This is the last game of this 3-game homestand. They got booed for the first time all year, or actually I think the second time. Because they booed a little bit at the end of the Vancouver game, but they definitely booed the Leafs off the ice in the Dallas game at the end there. There's a thinking onus to get a win here and play better hockey. And it does matter that Toronto gets Jake McCabe back. He is back from his injury, and that's significant. They missed him on that blue line. There's no question. And now he comes back. He fits seamlessly back to his regular pairing with Christopher Tanev, which is what you want to see. Morgan Riley, Philippe Myers. Now, it just makes the blue line, everyone goes back to the positions they're comfortable in. So McCabe was missed dearly by this team. He'll be back tonight, which is big. Now, are there concerns with Tavares out? Yeah, because you got to juggle the lineup a little bit. Nyes is back with Matthews and Marner, which is obviously a trio that was on a roll there for a bit, for a few games. Pacioretty, Domi, Nylander, McMahon, Holmberg, Robertson, and Dewart, Kampf, and Reeves. Your lineup combo here for the Leafs tonight. Now, New Jersey comes in off the shootout loss to Florida in their last game, so they're off a loss. They're looking to bounce back too, and I'm sure there's that onus of, hey, let's go into Toronto. We got our head coach here. We can't let him down in his return to Toronto. But, I think Toronto, there's an extra sense of urgency here. They have played the Devils well this year. Don't forget, they didn't play well against in the last meeting, but they got away with one because Stolarz was phenomenal that night. But I think they realized they're going to have to step things up a little bit. Team doesn't want to go 0-3 on the homestand. The team has not lost 4 in a row at all this year to this point. And now you're getting them as a slight home dog. I see a little bit of value with Toronto, and I'm on them. Plus 110 here. And I wouldn't talk anyone out of the draw either. This is another one that I think could be a draw candidate here. And this is another one I'd lean under when it comes to the total. I think Wool is going to play a good game. New Jersey's not scoring right now. It's another thing we have to point out. New Jersey has scored 1-3-2, 3-2, 0-2-2 in their last 8 games. So they have only scored 3 goals twice in the last 8 games, and they've scored 2 or less 6 of the last 8. So this does feel like, and Toronto's been, a team that's been Jekyll and Hyde offensively. They've also been trending under here in some recent games. So, and New Jersey, by the way, 6 straight games for them have gone under the total. So it does feel like maybe a game where goals are hard to come by as well. Alex, what do you think here? Devils, Leafs, the Sheldon Keefe Bowl.
Yeah, I'd say, and that's going to be obviously the big takeaway throughout the entire game is going to be with Keefe and obviously the crowd reaction and everything. But I don't think that's going to matter too much. Like you said, Toronto, they've got big fish to fry in the sense of, like you said, trying to get a win at home, trying to just right the ship of what's been kind of a struggling, set of games right now. So I would lean with them, but I think this is a great live betting spot. Everything sets up for live, even with the pricing right now. The first period over right now is at even money at a couple of shops, so we can wait for that a couple minutes in to go, hit plus 120, 125. I do like that play, and I lean with more with the first period over than the full game over. Like you said, this could be a game once again where start off hot, maybe Toronto gets some momentum going early, and then this thing kind of tapers down a little bit. So this is a live game for me. Size and total, everything. I'll be watching this game, but I won't have anything. I'll be posting stuff on Twitter involving this contest.
Again, big part of the reason I'm on Toronto is because, again, this team has not lost 4 straight games this year. Maybe they're due to finally lose 4 in a row, and tonight's the night. But like I said, they've been excellent at stopping the bleeding. They've been excellent at, stopping these losing streaks before they balloon. And we'll see if that is the case once again here tonight. Matt, what do you think here? And by the way, no Steph Nason. It reminded me when I was about to send it to Matt here, his Plano buddy from Texas, Stephen Nason out, will not play here tonight for the New Jersey Devils. That's the second straight game. He'll be missing in action for New Jersey. But Matt, what do you think here? Devils, Leafs.
Yeah, you ruined my joke. I was going to mention that, I like the Devils here, but they're missing their second leading scorer. So makes me want to take the Leafs, but no, this is a tough one for me. I do think Toronto's due. It is another game at home, but after watching them get booed 2 games in a row, it's hard for me to side with them even at a plus 110. I know New Jersey's been sort of streaky on the road this year. I think they're like 4-4-2 in their last 10, so it's not like they've been spectacular. So I don't really want to take them. Minus 130 in a road game where I think Toronto's got a good shot. So this might be a game I just watch and enjoy. I don't know that there's really much action for me in this one. I would lean over if anything. But I think just because I think, Toronto's due for a good game. I think, New Jersey, despite missing one of their top scorers, great player, They still have a lot of skill in that dressing room. So I could see this going over, especially at a total 5.5. So that might be where I look. But as far as sides go, this one's tough because I just think, it could go either way.
The Steven Lorentz experiment on the top line is over. It's back to Matthew Nyes there tonight, and I think Matthew Nyes scores here tonight. I think this is the right time to buy in on Matthew Nyes again, who was on that heater the last time he was with Matthews and Marner. Then they had that collective horrible game, and then that's when Craig Berube made the change. You're plus 350 again. You're getting it once again, still back to those really good prices again on Matthew Nyes. So hopefully he's able to find the back of the net reunited with Matthews and Marner tonight. All right, Anaheim, Tampa Bay. We've got Tampa Bay minus 320, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. No doubt. Duly noted by Bailey, who's a big Leafs fan. He thinks the Leafs are definitely losing tonight. So we'll see how that goes. But you're right. It's a Keefe spot. Win one for the Gipper for New Jersey. That's part of it, too. I get it. But when I see a team that hasn't lost 4 in a row yet this year, a good home team like the Leafs, and now a home underdog, that's why I'm on them. We'll see how it goes. This one, Anaheim, Tampa Bay. Anaheim in the system play. They got shut out 3-0 by Washington in their last game. We'll see how they fare here in this one. Tampa Bay, obviously, did not play a good game against Boston, but it kind of feels like it's their chance to bounce back. Braden Point back in the lineup after the healthy scratch, the health bomb from the Boston game due to the missing the team meeting. I'm sure he feels pretty ashamed by that. So probably would expect, Braden Point to have a pretty good game here for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game tonight. I do like Tampa Bay here, team total over 3.5. I think kind of a bounce back spot here for them tonight against the Anaheim Ducks, a Ducks team that continues to be Jekyll and Hyde. It's worth noting, if you go back and look, the last 4 times the Tampa Bay Lightning have hosted the Anaheim Ducks here at Amalie Arena, 6-4, 6-5 goals scored by the Lightning in those games. So just asking them to get to 4 goals, in my opinion, is not asking too much. So the team total for Tampa over 3.5. Geez, it's climbed since I took it. I took it and it was already minus 140 when I took it. I'm seeing minus 150, minus 160 now. So man, it is getting highly priced, that Lightning team total over. So lay low if you haven't bet it yet. We'll see. But like I said, I am on that Lightning team total over. And obviously I'm on the system play here as well. First period over, full game over with the Ducks off the shutout loss. Although Anaheim's one of those flighty teams where, the system, they've only been in the system play once, and that was the other night against Carolina over the weekend, and both the first period and full game fell short. So this might be a lesser unit system play for me on the Anaheim-Tampa Bay game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Ducks, Lightning.
This one might end up being a pass. I have the system play, of course, circled, but I have it circled to play live, especially with the 6.5 total. But like I said, I'll watch the first couple minutes. If I'm not seeing the pace, especially from Anaheim's perspective, then this will just be a clear pass for me. But I don't like anything pregame in this one.
Yeah, it's okay to pass on a big card like this. That's for sure. Matt, what do you think here? Ducks, Lightning.
Generally, I'm pretty big on Tampa team total at home when they're playing an inferior opponent, but minus 155 is a lot of juice for me. So given that it's a system play game, I might keep it simple, hit it with a little same game parlay, Matty Rob special, which will bring that total down to 5.5. Should be able to get it right around even money. It may be, minus 110, but it's better than laying that 6.5, especially in Alex's case. If the Ducks don't show up, you really need Tampa to get 4 or 5 goals here. So that might be the way I look at this one.
No doubt. And you know what I like, too, for Tampa Bay? They're off the game against Boston. Braden Point's going to have an axe to grind tonight after the mistake he made not showing up on time for a team meeting. They also lost in Anaheim, and it was just recently, 4-1 during that disastrous California road trip. So I think they'll remember that, that we lost to this Anaheim team. We got to show up tonight against it. Can't be losing 2 in a row to this fucking team. Can't. So we'll see how it goes, and I think that's why the focus should be there tonight. And like I always say, when you're playing the weaker team and the focus is there, normally you're going to get the job done. We'll see if that's the case. Vasilevsky's projected. He did not have his best game against Boston the other night. The whole team didn't play well, but it's not a Vasilevsky masterpiece. Gibson is projected right now for Anaheim, but we do not have the goalies confirmed yet for this game. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to be suiting up. I would look at Braden Point props tonight, definitely to score a goal. Obviously, you're only going to get plus 130, but definitely maybe a multi-goal game from him. He's a very good pro, and I'm sure he doesn't feel good about himself, missing the team meeting. I know that's rare for a guy like that to make a mistake like that. So I think you're going to want to see him kind of make up to his team for it. Make it up to his team. All right, next up, Flyers and Islanders. We've got the New York Islanders minus 140 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this one. This is another system play here. The New York Islanders getting blanked by Levi Merrilainen and the Ottawa Senators on the BetCast Tuesday night. We're following that game closely. Obviously, I was on Ottawa. They got the job done, shutting out the Islanders 2-0. So this is another system play here for us. This is 4 bets for me on this game. Flyers and Islanders. I'm on Philadelphia plus 120. You can't tell me the Islanders should be minus 140 right now against anybody. I think the Flyers play hard every night. I know they lost against Columbus in a shootout, but they beat Florida before that. They're in every game. They're going to come into this game thinking this is a winnable hockey game against the Islanders. We beat them here last time we went to UBS Arena, 1-0 in a shootout. Ersson is going to be in net, and he's the one goalie that you'd prefer to have your money on when you're backing Philadelphia, as opposed to Kolosov and Fedotov, which is what you want to see. Sorokin confirmed for the Islanders, but the Islanders are just not a team I trust in this price range. Philadelphia's played some competitive hockey. When they've lost lately, it's been close games against good teams like Dallas, like Toronto. I think they get the job done here, plus 120. I'm also on the draw. Philadelphia went to a shootout their last game. Head-to-head, the last 2 meetings have gone past regulation, so the Thailanders back out in full force tonight. So not only the Flyers, but the draw. So it's a dog and draw type of split for me. And with this being the system play, it's over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game. Now, you would think with a team like the Islanders, aren't we concerned they'd be one of these teams that maybe you don't fully trust to have a bunch of overs tonight, first period and full game, even being in the system play. Courtesy of Chris Otto, Islanders have been in the system play 4 previous times this year. 4-0 first period over, 4-0 full game over in those games. The Islanders have been a team we can count on for the system play off a shutout loss. 4 previous shutout losses this year for the Islanders, and the next game in the system play, all 4 of them, first period, full game over, both cashed. So let's rely on that here tonight in this game. Alex, what do you think here, Flyers, Islanders?
Yeah, so I'm rolling with that system play as well. I'm playing that a little bit pregame and adding a little bit on live because we get in that pick 'em range with the 5.5 and the 1.5 the first period. Also on the draw, shop around. I was just looking through. DraftKings still has plus 310. BetMGM has plus 320. That's your best price available. BetOnline has a price above plus 300. There's other shops like FanDuel and other places are plus 290, plus 280. I saw at one shop. Avoid those. You want to get plus 300 or higher on the draw. But I definitely think that's alive, obviously, with these 2 teams and their history to go along with that over bet. So maybe even a sprinkle on 3 correct score as well. We can get a FanDuel. It's usually around 13 to 1.
There we go. So yeah, Flyers and draw and over by Fecta for me. And Alex liking a lot of the similar stuff there. Like I said, if I took Ottawa against the Islanders the other night, I'm certainly going to be liking Philadelphia here at an even better price tonight at plus 120 in this game. I'm never shy about fading the Islanders as a minus 140. And even at times I've seen them minus 150 or higher this year. They're just not that kind of team to be put in the stratosphere like that. Matt, what do you think here? Philly, New York Islanders.
Just keeping it simple with the system play. I would definitely, if I was going to take a side on this one, I would take Philly. But, again, big card, don't have a reason to take every single bet. So I'll just stick to the first period and full game over on this one.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. And as far as, like I said, props for this game, Morgan Frost, Noah Cates, certainly those guys have been great lately. There's someone else, too, that stepped up and scored a little bit more lately, too. I'm trying to think who it is for Philadelphia up front. Might be Brink, but it's definitely Frost and Cates have been really good. I think those are definitely a couple of targets for me on the Philadelphia side. as far as player props. And like I said, Morgan Frost has been very good and started to really step up. And look, he's been in the doghouse of Tortorella multiple times as a member of the Flyers, and he's finally, starting to play a little bit more responsibly defensively to go with his offensive talent. We know there's great skill there with Morgan Frost, but he's playing a little more responsibly, and that's what Tortorella's been trying to get out of him here throughout his tenure with the Flyers. All right, Seattle and Winnipeg. We've got the Winnipeg Jets -210 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Seattle, they're ending a very long road trip here tonight in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's coming off the 6-1 thrashing over Vancouver, and they beat Colorado 3-0 before that. So back-to-back home wins for the Jets. They have 2 more games on their homestand. Seattle finally heads home to play LA on Saturday after this game tonight. They have that comeback win against Pittsburgh 4-2 on Tuesday night. It was a great betcast game because a lot of us jumped on Seattle live to come back and beat Pittsburgh, and they were able to do that. That was the Dan Bylsma Bowl, which I hadn't even mentioned about that game on Tuesday's show, that Dan Bylsma back in Pittsburgh, where he coached the Penguins many, many years ago. But they get the 4-2 win there. See how they fare here in this one against the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, when you look at head-to-head, Winnipeg's won 3 straight games versus the Seattle Kraken. Here in Winnipeg, very interesting to note that the last 5 meetings with the Kraken versus the Jets here in the Peg, 4-1 to the over, a lot of 4-3 final scores, and a lot of them 4-3 in favor of Winnipeg. So, maybe a 4-3 final score makes sense here in this game. And it's actually been trending over with the head-to-head as well. 3 of the last 4 meetings have gone over. Seattle, their last 10 games, this is a stat that caught my attention, especially with this total being 5.5. Last 10 games for Seattle, only one. That's right. Only one of their last 10 games has had fewer than 6 goals. That's it. 9 of the last 10 games for Seattle have had at least 6 goals scored. We have Seattle on this undefeated, not quite Chicago, but pretty damn close. Seattle, 8 straight first period overs going into this game tonight against the Winnipeg Jets. So this is over by fecta for me. Normally not a team, Winnipeg, that I bet many overs or over by fectas, but series history points at it. Seattle, 9 of their last 10 games have had at least 6 goals. 8 straight first period overs for the Seattle Kraken going into tonight's game. So first period over, full game over by fecta for me here. Matt, what do you think? Seattle, Winnipeg?
Yeah, not traditionally a team, especially with Hellebuck confirmed in net, that I would take overs on. But, given series history and Seattle's current form, I'm definitely going to be on the over by fecta in this one. I'm hoping, things get opened up. Hellebuck, as good as he is, there's games he gives up 2, 3, 4 goals. So as long as Winnipeg's rolling 2 on the other end, this could be a high scoring affair. So love the over by fecta. And then it's not my best bet, but I do love, it's not my bargain bin, but I do love a Josh Jones goal prop in this game. It is bargain bin worthy. He just got called up last game or 2 games ago. He scored last game on the power play.
Man.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at the totally wrong game.
I was going to say, Josh Jones doesn't play. Did he get traded to Seattle or Winnipeg? I didn't pay attention.
I clicked on Game Center for Rangers Utah and was just kind of looking at Utah's I'm off. So, but yeah. So forget anything prop wise in this game. I'm just on the over by fecta.
Yeah, it's all right. Brain fart. It happens. I've had a few on this show, so it's all good. Always forgiven. But all right, Alex, back with us here.
Yeah.
Not quite Chicago with Seattle, but 8 straight first period overs is still pretty damn impressive. What do you think, Seattle, Winnipeg?
Yeah, so you gotta ride that in this spot. And like I said, even though you got Hellebuck, that's the reason why I'm not going over by fecta in this spot. I'm just going with the first period over. We know he's susceptible to give up a goal early, but he's the kind of guy when he gives up a goal early, he sharpens up and kind of tightens up, and the team in front of him plays a little bit better too. So that's the thing that I think, once again, this is another spot where I like first period over. But if I see this cash in and it cashes in quite early, especially if it's a, say a 1-1 game, that's when I jump in and I'll grab a live under. I'll go 7.5 and I'll lay $1.25, even $1.30 for at a certain point with that price. Try and grab a 7.5 or even a 6.5 if they try not to blow it up too much. But that's something that I try to look for in this kind of second half wind. First period overs and the live unders. This game definitely calls for it.
Yeah, it definitely could slow down. I probably will. I will probably tilt the scales more toward more investment first period over than full game. I'm on both. I'm on the bifecta, but I'm with you. I kind of like the first period over a little bit more, certainly in this game. Beniers, Kakko, Schwartz, Stevenson, we've talked about, has been stepping up a little bit lately offensively for the Kraken as well. So those are some props on their side. For Winnipeg, Gabe Vilardi, roll with him. Scheifele's obvious. Kyle Connor, what can you say? He was just ridiculous the other night against Vancouver. He was rock solid. I think this might be a night for the captain because it looks like Adam Lowry is up there now with Iafallo and Ehlers for the Winnipeg Jets. And maybe it's an Adam Lowry night for the Winnipeg Jets possibly to find the back of the net here in this game. All right. Didn't we just see this? We did. We're seeing it again tonight. Calgary and St. Louis for the second straight time in the same building. St. Louis minus 135, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. So we all liked St. Louis in some form. A lot of us did the other night. They got it done, St. Louis in regulation in particular. But it was not an easy win by any stretch for St. Louis. 2-1. They grinded it out, beating the Calgary Flames. I'm not sure I'm ready to bet them again here now in the same matchup. And you're laying a bit more of a price actually now, minus 135 here in this game in the rematch, especially when you factor in that Calgary is going to be throwing hungry like the wolf, Dustin Wolf in net, who, as we know, we like Dustin Wolf quite a bit. So this is going to be a Steve Miller Band game of the card here. Go on, take the money and run. Take the money from that Blues win the other night and just put it in my pocket. Not really going to do much here with Flames and Blues in the rematch. Joel Hofer, by the way, is going to be in net for St. Louis. And Jake Neighbors could miss this game. He is a game-time decision with an upper body injury here for St. Louis. Definitely would lean under the total. Wolf is definitely an under goalie right now. And I know I've talked about the Flames' struggles defensively on the road, but even with Vladar in net, they only gave up 2 goals the other night against St. Louis. So this is definitely under or nothing for me, Flames and Blues with Wolf in net. Hard to bet his starts over the total right now. Alex, what do you think here? Flames, Blues.
Yeah, I love this draw. This game should have gone to overtime. Really could have gone to overtime and a shootout the other night. And I think this is a good price, plus 320 available at BetMGM. Shop around because there are, once again, it's another game where some books have gone sub 300 with the price. But 320 at BetMGM. I see 300 even at DraftKings. Like I said, with Wolf in net, I think this is going to be kind of a low and slow contest as well. So lean under, but definitely on the draw.
All right, the draw. I don't hate that. I mean, I could see this being another tight, 1-goal game for somebody with overtime potential. Matt, what do you think here? Flames, Blues.
Yeah, you guys heard me on Tuesday take the draw in this game. I actually tuned into a lot of the third period because I was on the draw on Tuesday night, and it failed me.
It was close.
So
Calgary almost tied
it,
it late. Yep.
Yeah, it was deserving of a draw, as Alex mentioned. Like it definitely could have bounced that way, but yeah, this one's tough for me. I mean, I want to roll with the draw again. I might sprinkle a few bucks on that. Typically, if a team plays back to back, like against each other, and it's a 2-1 game, I'd hammer the over. But as you mentioned, with Wolf and net, Calgary has been pretty shut down even on the road as of late. So I lean under. I'm not going to bet the under in case my gut feeling of, this will be a higher scoring game does happen. But I think I could make a case for the draw. Again, these are two teams that want every point. If it is tied late, I could see it kind of, they're just passing around the last 8 to 10 minutes just to kind of get that point and then kind of go from there in overtime. So maybe a little sprinkle on the draw, but nothing on the sides and totals in this one for me.
Aaron likes the over. And the one thing I will say about why you may like the over here, it's because it's a rematch situation. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and I would even venture to say a lot of times, first game goes under, second game goes over, and vice versa. Where maybe first game goes over, second game goes under. So if you believe in that theory, then you would be looking over the total here in this game. It's just difficult for me with Wolf, but it's not a total I'm betting either way. Draw, like I said, might be worth a look. And like I said, for props for St. Louis, it looks like with Neighbors not playing, does Holloway move up? He might. He'd be the likely candidate to play with Robert Thomas. So that would make an already somewhat level of interest for me betting a goal prop for Holloway even more if he's up to that top line if Neighbors sits. Coronado heating up a little bit for the Calgary Flames. Peltier, Sharangovich, and Rory Cairns. Keep an eye on those three. They've been really good as a line, making things happen offensively, so maybe they're able to find the back of the net here in this one. All right, it's the hottest damn streak in hockey, and we'll see if it keeps going for one more night. Chicago, one more night. I can't bet forever. Chicago and Nashville here. That's a little Phil Collins for you old youngins out there. Nashville minus 280. 6 the total here in this game. Give me one more night to cash Chicago first period over. That's what we're hoping for here tonight. Chicago first period over. What a run. 11 straight entering this game tonight. Now, it is a situation here tonight where it could be one of these deals where get in and get out and only take the first period over. Maybe don't tack the full game over onto it, because the one thing that is scary about this game, especially for Chicago, is complete ownage by UC Saros over you over the years. Saros has absolutely dominated the Chicago Blackhawks. We're talking like sub 2 goals against average, some kind of almost 940 save percentage lifetime against Chicago. And that's definitely something that Chicago's going to have to overcome here in this game. He is confirmed in net, Saros for Nashville. Arvid Soderblom in net here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Not surprising. It's time to give Peter Mrazek a little rest here. It's been a rough go for him in recent starts. So Soderblom gets the nod here in this game for Chicago. Chicago's off a loss. I expect aggression early, try to get on the board early. And Nashville needs to keep stringing wins together. It's not just good enough that they beat Vegas. You got to put wins together. You got to stack good days when you've dug yourself this big of a hole in the standings. So they should be aggressive early on. So I still think the chances are good. We get the 2 goals we need here in the first period with the 11 straight overs. And we just hope that from the commercial, the NHL commercial, that everywhere you go, tip, 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 Mr. UC Saros there is not able to stone the Chicago Blackhawks like he has for much of his career. But yes, first period over once again for Chicago for me. Alex, Blackhawks, Predators.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it goes without saying, we're 11 in a row. We're going to continue to ride this streak. I got minus 118 at FanDuel. I'm seeing minus 120s at MGM, Caesars, Bet Online. So you can certainly find this, anything within minus 130, bet it pregame. Anything higher than 130, or you wait a little late, I would suggest to grab it in game. But that's the only thing I'm rocking with here. No both teams in the first period. Like I said, no full game over, because Saros and Nashville have done well against the Hawks. And the Hawks, they tend to struggle to score on the road. Oh, even though there's one player I do like to get a goal tonight, I'm hoping it's one of the goals in the first period. Be for the Hawks, that'll be a bargain bin play that I talk about a little bit later.
All right, bargain bin special for Alex coming from this game. It's funny you mentioned that, Duke, about do you ever talk about analytics? I ranted about analytics a few shows ago. I am aware of analytic numbers. I do make sure I'm aware of them. I read them on a regular basis. But as I said on that rant, I do not base my betting decisions solely off analytics. I do not. And I never have, and I never will. Because I've seen so many bettors that just take them too seriously and wrap their decisions around them. Say, first in expected goals for this team. So we got to bet overs. We got to bet on that team. They're first in expected goals. The puck's eventually going to go in. It never fucking goes in. It doesn't change. The actual goals don't correlate to the expected goals. And there's reasons for that. Some teams just don't have the elite finishing ability, the hands around the net to convert on those high quality chances. And that's where the analytic numbers and the expected goals numbers that people just love these days, that's where it deceives you. And that's where it gets you in hot water. It gets you in trouble. So it's good to know of them, but it's, for me, not good to base my decisions off them.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it's a French toast theory, right? You have bread, you have custard, and you mix it together. The analytics of the custard. You can put a lot of different things in to change what the custard's like and how it flips out. But like I said, it's malleable. You can move it around any way you want. So I utilize certain analytics to go with different trends and just what we're seeing from the eye test. And that's how we, kind of compound everything together to get the plays that we like. At least on my end, I'm saying that. So that's the way I kind of look at it. It's part of the process, but it's not just an overall. I'll run and back a trend further than I will just straight analytics. If I'm going to go one straight or the other, it's going to be trends over analytics. Not to say that analytics are garbage, but like I said, it's something that I add into and formulate with looking at teams, with looking at players, not necessarily just the run all, end all be all. This analytic stat, I'm betting off of this. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Like to me, actual goals. That's right. Actual goals per game. Actual goals against per game. They matter still more, in my opinion, than expected goals per game and expected goals against. And to me, that's never going to change for me. Doesn't mean for everybody, but for me. Matt, what do you think here? Chicago, Nashville.
Yeah, Ryan, just to touch on that last point, Ryan's roommate's a huge expected goals or expected time with the again, it is a good way to kind of resource your bets, make you feel better about your bets. But to me, it's hockey. Anything can happen any given night. You can be expected to score 1 goal and score 5. It's fucking crazy shit. So,
And you can be expected
not
to
a
score 5 and score 1. That's exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but as far as this game goes, keeping it simple, not going against an 11-game heater. I'll be on the first period over. I actually got minus 115 this morning, so went ahead and bet that. Before even looking at the card, I just saw that Chicago was playing tonight and threw that on the first period. But as far as the full game goes, I don't know where to look here. I could see Chicago winning this game. Plus 230 is a good price. Do I want to bet them against Saros given series history? Probably not. Definitely never laying minus 280 on Nashville any game this whole season. They could be playing the Reno Ice Raiders, and I still might not take them at minus 280. Obviously, that's a joke, but yeah, not laying on the Preds minus 280. So for this one, just a first period over, and that'll be it for me.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yep.
No. Just saying, yeah, it's just something else really stands out. And of course, price dictates that too with Nashville being such a high favorite. But like I said, we can't trust Nashville in this kind of a spot where we can say, oh, let's go team total. It's not the same old Arvid Soderblom where we could say, oh, it's going to be 5 goals, so we go team total over, or we go full game over. That's the other thing that's really kind of throwing this in the whack, is that you've got a much better Hawks goalie. And then, of course, like you said, Saros, who's been just, virtually indestructible against Chicago. So that makes it a little bit harder to try to find spots in this.
No question. It should be an interesting game there tonight for sure with Chicago and Nashville. And so should this next game, the Montreal Canadiens. Who can stop the Montreal Canadiens right now? Well, the Dallas Stars did, actually, on their recent road trip in Montreal. They got a 2-1 shootout win over Montreal, but it's been one of the few losses that this team has suffered of late. And now these teams play again, this time deep in the heart of Texas. We got Dallas minus 220, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. At this price, I ain't passing up the opportunity to bet Montreal. I was on them against Utah. We have certainly seen the Montreal Canadiens step up, play their best, put their best foot forward against the best teams recently on their schedule, beating Florida, beating Tampa Bay, beating Vegas, beating Colorado. Even the loss to Dallas at home was a back and forth even game that went Dallas's way in a shootout. And then on the Dallas side, not easy to fade Dallas. Playing their best hockey of the season. I think it's fair to say that right now. And what's been impressive is there's been no Tyler Seguin, there's been no Mason Marchment, and it's been no problem. They've been winning games. They've been playing some really good hockey. But now they lose Roope Hintz too. Injured in the last game against Toronto. You worry about that. It was a great end of the road trip. I'm sure they heard it that they hadn't beaten Toronto in 7 straight. There was a bit of a monkey off their back feeling getting the win against Toronto the other night, putting the capper on a rock-solid, strong 4-1 road trip. And now you come back home, and this is always that very, very tricky, dubious spot that we have the Dallas Stars in here. And not to mention, Montreal went to Dallas last year and beat the Dallas Stars 4-3. So I think we've got Montreal worth a shot here in the plus 200 range in this game. I like them. I think they're live in this situation. And I'm going to take them at this price with the way they've been playing right now. And I'm going to split it with the team total over 2.5 as well. Alex, what do you think here? Canadiens, Stars.
Yeah, I just kept it simple and went right back with a draw. Like I said, the last time these two teams met went all the way to a shootout. I think this is going to be kind of a close battle. And so this is another game that I grabbed the draw at. I got this one at plus 345 at BetOnline.
Matt, how do you feel? You're the Dallas Stars fan. How do you feel about your team in this spot here against the surging Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, I think you made some good points. I mentioned I was watching another show earlier today that features a huge Canadiens fan. obviously they've been on a bit of a heater lately. At the same time, they weren't willing to bet against Dallas given the form that they've been playing in. I kind of lean the same way. I'm not going to be on Dallas tonight. Definitely not laying minus 220 against a Canadian team that's surging. But do I think Dallas could win the game? Of course. I think, this is one of the better games of the night, just given current form. Both teams. I think the other show mentioned, since like December 13th or December 15th, these are the two best statistical teams in the league based on records. So obviously, two teams in good form. Hintz is definitely a big out. But that does factor into my bargain bin that I'll mention a little bit later. The interesting play with this game is, they did have a low and slow 1-1 go to overtime game. I think the draw is still worth a look in this one. Anytime, you have teams in the East and West, you always have that, hey, if it's 3-3 with 10 minutes left, both teams kind of pack it in and, get that point and then play for the second point. But I do think it should be a little bit higher scoring game than the 1-1 game the other night. I don't know. I think this might be one that I look for a live over 5.5. 6 is fine, but then you're looking at a push bet. But if it does get to overtime, 3-3, not a bad spot to be. So I just think it'll be a little higher scoring than that 2-1 game. The question is, will it be like a 3-2 game, that comes down to the wire, doesn't quite get to overtime, and then you miss the over. So probably my only play on this game will be the bargain bin. And then I do think I'm going to jump on the first period over because Dallas has a tendency at home to give one up early, but they also have a tendency to score one in the first period. So I think I saw a stat that both these teams are pretty heavy to the goal in the first 10 minutes. So I think first period over is definitely worth a look in this game.
They have been lately, that is for sure. Jakub Dobeš is getting the start tonight. That does not surprise me. I kind of thought he might get the opportunity to go in net here tonight for Montreal, for Marty St. Louis, especially considering when you factor in that the last game in Montreal was a Montembeault start. Now, it wasn't Montembeault's fault. Montembeault played well, but they do lose 2-1 in a shootout. So, but not surprising. Give Jakub Dobeš another chance. 3-0 with a .940 save percentage in these starts so far for the young Jakub Dobeš for the Montreal Canadiens. He'll get the start here tonight. Jake Ottinger back in net for Dallas here in this game. So, like I said, I think Montreal's got a chance here. And I actually got plus 200 on them. It's dipped a little bit. There's actually been some money coming in on Montreal because it's down to plus 180 here in a lot of spots. As far as props for me in this game, Cole Caulfield surging. Kirby Dach is the one to go with. Finally, he's got the offense rolling a bit for this Canadiens team. So I think Kirby Dach is definitely someone to maybe look at for a goal prop tonight on the Montreal side of things. For Dallas, Wyatt Johnston on the centering the top line, it looks like at the moment with Hintz's absence. Dadonov, we've talked about him. He's always worth a look as long as he stays on the top line there with Jason Robertson and Wyatt Johnston. Ben's been in better form. Maybe the Stank man who got 2 goals the other night against Toronto is going to show signs of heating up. Logan Stankoven for the Dallas Stars. So some good prop options as well here in this Canadiens and Stars game here tonight. That's a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes, especially with Montreal stepping their game up repeatedly against the better teams lately. All right, we got the New York Rangers and the Utah Hockey Club. Rangers minus 115 road favorites. The total here, 6 shaded to the under. There are a couple 5.5s, but most books currently have the Rangers at minus 115 as road favorites. Can you believe it, guys? We have finally gotten to a point where I'm putting my money on the New York Rangers. Yes, that's right. I'm taking the Rangers tonight, minus 110, minus 115. I see signs of life. I see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not ready to say the Rangers are even close to where they were last year, 2 years ago, but they have certainly played better the last 7 games than the debacle and the horrible stretch they had for about a solid month. You are seeing some signs. They beat Boston. They hang tough with Washington. They beat Chicago. They lose in overtime to a very good Dallas team. They beat New Jersey in overtime. They beat Vegas, a very good team. They take Colorado to overtime and they lose 3-2 in their last game. So you're seeing signs for the New York Rangers. Now, a lot of the reasons you're seeing signs are because Sam Carrick and Adam Edstrom and your pluggers are stepping up and carrying the team lately. Eventually, Zibanejad and Kreider and Panarin have got to get out of their slumber. You can't have Adam Edstrom and fucking Sam Carrick, just carrying things offensively for this team. That's the one concern. How long are you going to get this little magic carpet ride with the fourth line playing like they're Mark Messier in his prime with that line with the Rangers back from the 90s? It's not going to continue indefinitely. So at some point, the Rangers are going to need Trocheck, Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, those guys to make an impact, because you can't have the fourth line carrying you indefinitely. That being said, they're playing a little bit better defensively, scoring again thanks to the foot soldiers, and Igor Shesterkin has probably played his best stretch in net in quite some time. He is already confirmed in net tonight. It'll be Karel Vejmelka for Utah once again, who's kind of come back down to earth a little bit the last few starts for him. I think it's ready to, there's been some buy low opportunities with the Rangers because the betting markets and the odds makers have devalued them because of the collapse they had. And now we're at the point where it's bottomed out for the Rangers, certainly as far as where they're being priced. And there probably is some value. Not to mention, you want to take Utah right now. They've been bad at home. I've got Utah at 2-11 in their last 13 home games going into tonight. They have just not been good on home ice. So, yeah, for the first time in what feels like ages, and it does feel like ages, I'm on the New York Rangers here tonight as short road favorites. And yes, there are many key injuries here to the Utah Hockey Club. They miss Gunther badly. You can see it's just not quite that same top six group up front when he is out, and he remains out with the lower body injury for the Utah Hockey Club here tonight. Alex, what do you think here? New York Rangers, Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, this is a spot where I do like the first period over. I grabbed a little bit of -120, but I'll be trying to grab a little bit more in game, trying to get a plus price spot here. That's the only thing I really looked at. And I kind of wanted to address a couple of comments in the chat I mentioned about with the imbalance in scheduling in games. We talk about this often, and we hate it. But the way that you can kind of manipulate it as far as in a handicapping manner is that you take some of those games, the ones that you're going to bet stuff. Hey, if you like stuff, just handicap that the day before, rather than.
There's the comment from Jeff right there on the screen.
Yeah,
yep.
split your 12, 13, 14 card games up. Split those in half and do some of it before and do some of it day of. And like I said, you'll just be able to just kind of cross-reference. That's the way that I've always been able to kind of do that. Like I said, I didn't like anything last night, so I got to work on today's card yesterday. And then that splits me up. So now I have time for tomorrow with only 2 games to work on Saturday's card. So that's just a note I wanted to point out. And that's something that I wanted to point out, especially for a lot of the newer bettors and some of the newer viewers who kind of maybe get overwhelmed where they have these kind of big swing card nights. But for me, for this game, it's going back to with Utah and the Rangers. Like I said, Utah struggling at home. I think that means that we could see some goals early. Like I said, the Rangers could be one where if they really pushed it on the gas, they could take care of maybe first period and full game over on their own. In a spot like this, but I'm just going first period over 1.5, a little bit pregame and adding a little bit more on live in game.
Jonathan mentioning too about the Dallas game, Matt Duchene's birthday today. Yes, he's a January 16 birthday. He turns 34 today, Matt Duchene. So, the birthdays, does he score a goal because it's his birthday? Like if it's a fourth liner, I'm not betting them just because it's their birthday. But Matt Duchene, I think we can trust him. Maybe, because he is a good offensive player. He's having a nice season. That maybe the birthday angle matters for the guys that are actually good goal scorers. For the ones that are just pluggers. Like, is the birthday going to make, Ty Domi in his heyday score a goal? Probably not. But, but I mean, you still got to trust in the guys that can produce. But yeah, Matt Duchene to score a goal may be worth a look there. How about you, Matt, for this one here, Rangers and Utah?
Yeah, I can rewind myself a little bit and get into the prop bet that I like on this game is Josh Doan anytime goal. He is getting a shot, with the injuries that Utah's dealing with. He's playing on their first power play unit. I believe he's rolling with the second line as far as the lineup goes. Didn't score in his first game after being called up, but did score last game. Got on the board on the power play. So I look for a Doan goal in this one. That's really my only look here. I don't really trust Utah at home. I still can't fully trust the Rangers. I do agree with you, Ian. They're playing better, but on a card this big, I think it's a pass game for me from a side standpoint, as well as the totals, because, given both goalies in New York, I think I saw Shesterkin is going to play tonight, but he can have a great lights out game. This could be a 1-0 type game. But he's also been accustomed to giving up a lot of goals in games this season. So no real edge on the sides or total, but give me a Josh Stone anytime goal prop. Love that. So
there we go. Oh, I think Alex has cleared up nicely there. There we go. It looks a lot better.
Right.
I think you're fixed now, finally. There we go.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. Hopefully I'm not a day late and a dollar short with this, but I'm going to, the 2 fourth liners, Sam Carrick and Adam Edstrom for the New York Rangers. We're going to dabble in the goal prop for both of them. Why not? I mean, they've been terrific lately. It's been their best line for the New York Rangers. And again, you're still getting some outstanding value, plus 850 on Sam Carrick. Adam Edstrom, I think it's 2 straight games now that he's scored, plus 950. If just one of them scores, it's huge payout for Adam Edstrom and for Sam Carrick on that 4th line for the New York Rangers. So very interested in both of them here. Arthur Kaliev remains on the 3rd line right now for the New York Rangers. I think he could find the back of the net possibly here tonight. So maybe a little look on Kaliev here, plus 600, the price for him. So there's some good value with some of these Rangers here tonight as far as goal props in this game. All right, we got 2 games left on this massive card. By the way, can you send Jeff T that YouTube comment to Gary Bettman somehow? Because you're right, it's ridiculous. 2 games last night, 13 tonight, 2 tomorrow, and we got 15 coming up on Saturday. And I know it's hockey day in Canada, north of the border Saturday, so that's probably part of why it's a packed schedule, but you got to diversify it a little more than that between each day.
I agree.
But we've been talking about this for years. Nothing's been done. I'm not holding my breath on that. Colorado, Edmonton. This is the second ESPN game of the doubleheader tonight. Colorado minus 125, home favorites. The total sitting at 6.5 in this game. You would think, these 2 teams and the firepower, you got to love the over. Certainly at 5.5, 6, get it, why people like the over. But now 6.5, with Mackenzie Blackwood's not exactly been an over goalie the way he's played lately in net for the Colorado Avalanche. You have to remember that. He's played very well for this team since they acquired him from the San Jose Sharks. Skinner will be in net here for the Oilers, Stuart Skinner, after obviously resting last night. Pickard got the start for the Oilers against the Wild. The last 2 meetings between these teams have gone under. It was a 5-1 Colorado win in Colorado in April. And then, of course, last year, and then it was earlier this year in Colorado, a 4-1 Edmonton win. A lot of people have jumped on the over. I haven't done that. I haven't bet the under either, but, it's just when I see Colorado and Blackwood in net, I mean, this team is 5-1 to the under in their last 6 games, and Blackwood's been pretty damn good at keeping the goals against to 2 or less, in the majority of his recent starts. So I'm not convinced this is an over like the betting markets are. Let's put it that way with this Edmonton-Colorado game. I'm not involved in it very much, and nothing on the side for me. I would lean Colorado. It's a tough spot for Edmonton on a back-to-back and now in the altitude. But just a lean for the Avs with the way Edmonton's playing really well right now. Just a lean to the Avs, but I do lean to the home favorite here and a lean to the draw. Nothing strong, though, for me with this game pregame. But a great game to watch. There's no doubt. There's a reason it's on ESPN tonight. Looking forward to it with these 2 as usual. Alex, what do you think? Oilers, Avs.
Yeah, late national TV game. This will be one I'll look for some live spots on, but I got nothing pregame in this.
Matt, what about you here? Edmonton, Colorado.
I got a first period over in this one. I think Edmonton will ride on some momentum from last night. I know Colorado is fully capable of scoring a goal at home in the first period. I just need 2 in the first. I do think it'll slow down a bit. I don't think it's going to be a 6-5 game per se, but national TV game. Not that it matters to guys, but maybe a little more, couple extra cameras in the locker rooms and stuff before the game. So maybe a little energy. So it is a weird travel spot. I would lean Colorado if I am taking a team, but I'm probably going to stay off sides and totals outside of the first period over in this one.
The goal in first 10 might be safe. And you're right. First period over did cash with Rangers and Avs. And of course, the Avs were in the system play that night because they had been shut out by Winnipeg. So the first period over did hit the last home game for Colorado against the Rangers. Jonathan saying that the first goal in the first 10 minutes has been strong for both of these teams lately. So it could be something worth a look here. It's just, I feel with Blackwood in net and even with Skinner, who's capable. I think Skinner played in that game against Colorado back in November, the one that the Oilers won 4-1. It was Skinner that night. He played really well. So like I said, there's a huge love for the over because this was 6 at even money. It's 6.5 now. But like I said, I didn't join the party. All right, final game. Los Angeles Kings, Vancouver Canucks. We've got LA minus, actually, it's pretty much even money, minus 110, both sides here in this game. Total 5.5, heavily shaded to the under here at around minus 140 in some spots with where the under is here in this Kings and Canucks game. This is a difficult game from a side perspective. Kings are off a shutout loss, 1-0 to Edmonton. They haven't played since Monday. So they've been off for a good amount of time here, the LA Kings. Meanwhile, you've got Vancouver coming off a horrific end of their road trip, getting blasted by Winnipeg 6-1. So they're definitely going to want to bounce back following that bad loss to the Jets, going 1-4 on that road trip, looking to bounce back strong in this game tonight against the LA Kings. Like I said, though, LA's off a loss too. In fact, back-to-back losses against the two Alberta teams. So they'll be bringing it. Vancouver's certainly going to bring it. So I think it's two teams in a spot where we expect them to show up. But right now, I think LA is the better squad at the moment. So and Vancouver's back at home where they haven't been great. 7-14 home record this year at Rogers Arena for the Vancouver Canucks. So I got to lean Kings, but I'm probably going to stay off the side here in this game. This is a system play, because the Kings are off the shutout loss to Edmonton. Now, there's a bit of a scary system play because the Kings aren't scoring right now. They have 3 goals in their last 3 games combined on this road trip. Vancouver's not scoring right now. They've been held to 1 goal or fewer 3 of their last 4 games. So we're not talking about teams that are ripping it up offensively right now. But the system is the system is the system. And the record's been strong enough start to finish this year with the system play. First period over, full game over to bet it. So I am on maybe a lower unit system play here for me, but I am still betting it. First period over, which is an unbelievable price right now because of the fact that 5.5 is heavily juiced to the under. You can get the first period over at plus money. I mean, Alex will know better than me, but when's the last time a first period over has been plus money? We've got Kings Canucks over 1.5 plus 110. Here in this game tonight. It has been a long time since we've seen that.
Probably 8 or 9 years, honestly.
I know, crazy. But it's the system. We got Kings off a shutout loss, so we're going to be on it. And the over 5.5, you can get plus 126 with over 5.5 at some spots. It's been a long time since we've seen that good a plus price on the full game over as well. And it's because two teams that are struggling to find the back of the net right now. But again, it's the system play. We're going to be on it. Win or lose. First period over, full game over for me here, Kings and Canucks. Alex, final game, LA, Vancouver.
So here are the price points that I'm waiting for live. With the first period over, I'm waiting for plus 120 to plus 125. For full game 5.5, I'm waiting for plus 130 to plus 140. Anything in that range is a buy on, but that's what I'm waiting for the first couple of minutes of this game. Like you said, we're going with that with the system. And I do think that it can cash, like I said, despite the fact that these have been 2 teams trending under, I think this game could really kind of explode and get chaotic. So I think we'll have time to grab something in game, huge plus prices that we don't normally get to grab, even when they're 2 teams that are playing in fair form. That's the way I'm going. First period over and full game in game, but I'm getting plus 125 and plus 130 respectively on those prices in game.
There are some things working in our favor for those that like the overs here with the system play in effect for LA. 2 straight overs head-to-head, Kings and Canucks. They played once earlier this year in LA. It was 4-2 Vancouver. First period over and full game over. Both hit. Both cashed in that game previously, earlier this season, Canucks and Kings in LA. So we do have that going for us here. And like I said, the system play is the system play. You bet it. You have concerns with it, but when it's hitting at the clip it has all season, you stick with it. You stay with it. And that's what we're doing here with Kings and Canucks here. Matt, what do you think here? Final game, Kings Canucks.
Yeah, I would typically lean LA. I mean, this season, especially, despite it being in Vancouver, there's just been a lot of question marks there. But LA hasn't been impressive lately, so probably nothing on the sides here. I'll put a little bit on the system play, especially given those good prices. Maybe things open up for LA a little bit. Maybe Vancouver pops one in the first period. So, I could definitely see the first period over. And then given the plus price on the full game over, I could make a case for that given the system play. So over bifecta for me, nothing on the sides. I would lean LA, but I think Vancouver's perfectly capable of beating LA in their current form, given that they're at home. So we'll see. This will be an interesting one. It'll be late into the card. I don't know if I'll be tuned in or anything like that. So I might just throw a little bit on the first period and full game over, and then wake up tomorrow and see what happened.
Obviously for LA, Turcotte and Fogle for props. I'm interested with both of them. They're on the top 6 for the LA Kings. And obviously, both teams have had trouble scoring. So make sure if you're betting goal props in this game, you maybe keep them light. But there's one I really like for Vancouver here tonight. And maybe this is going to be an opportunity for him to step up and get a big goal for this team. But Rick Tocchet said good things about him since he's been called up. And he's going to get a chance tonight playing with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk. Jonathan Lekkerimäki for the Vancouver Canucks. You can get plus 500 for him. And he's going to be, looks like, on the top line here tonight with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk. That's what we're looking at for Rick Tocchet tonight. So a big opportunity for Jonathan Lekkerimäki here for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, you're getting them at plus 500 here for a goal prop tonight. So I definitely like the looks of that one. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. There you have it. Huge card. Hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, we appreciate it very much. Patreon.com/IceGuys, just $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day. We've got another Patreon exclusive live betcast coming up at the end of January, Tuesday, January 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Free for all betcast next Tuesday, January 21st. We got some Thursday betcasts to make Matt happy in February and beyond as well. So make sure you check out the Ice Guys store as well. Patreon.com/IceGuys, $10 per month. And again, if you want to join our next Patreon exclusive live betcast, January 28th, you've got to be a Patreon member. So make sure you sign up and subscribe, $10 per month. Patreon.com/IceGuys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. If you missed the sale last week with the free standard shipping, don't worry. We will have a sale coming up next week. But in the meantime, definitely check out, like I said, some of the items. Maybe put some things in your cart, see what's available. Maybe wait till later and then save on. But check things out right now. We got all the stuff in stock, everything except hoodies. Hoodies are low in stock, but everything else is fully in stock right now. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets for this massive Thursday card coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgater Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night for this Thursday. We had a couple of those Buffalo players that scored in that game against Carolina, but we did use Jack Quinn as the bargain bin. He did not find the back of the net, but we were close. See if we can get back to a win column, into the win column with the bargain bin tonight. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for the bargain bin special?
Yeah, head down to the Music City tonight. You got Nashville taking on Chicago, and one Hawks player who got criticized rightfully in the last couple of games for some boneheaded mistakes he's made is Seth Jones. I think he's going to be able to right the wrongs tonight, playing against his old team, and I like him to score a goal plus 950 available at FanDuel. Looking for Seth Jones. Like I said, it's been hard to beat Saros, so maybe a shot from the point with some traffic in front might be the one to do it. So Seth Jones, anytime goal, plus 950 for Chicago. That's my bargain bin special this Thursday night.
You know what's funny about that? The bargain bin pick that Alex made, Seth Jones is getting absolutely raked over the coals for his recent play and the turnover he had the other night against Calgary. Wouldn't it just be something for him to, take all that criticism, use it to fuel you for tonight, and maybe you step up, you score a big goal. We'll see if that happens. Seth Jones, plus 950 for Alex with his bargain bin special of the night. Matt, bargain bin special, what do you got?
Yeah, so we're going to go to that game at the AAC tonight. Nick mentioned it in the chat. We talked about it before the show, but it is Matt Duchene's birthday. Is that worth, going bananas on him? Maybe not, but one thing I do like, with the confirmation of Rupe Hintz out, he is running that, or he's the center on that first power play unit. And also, he's been playing well with Jamie Benn, and Stankoven on the other wing finally breaks through in the last game. Maybe he's due for a little heater now. I think it had been 25 games without a goal. So give me Duchene over 1.5 points. I'm seeing it like plus 340, somewhere in that range. He's had 2-point nights pretty regularly this season. And with Hintz out, they're going to depend on guys like him, Ben, Robertson, Wyatt, to step up. So why not on his birthday get a couple points tonight for Dallas? Matt Duchene over 1.5 points.
All right, Matt Duchene over 1.5 points, plus 340 for Matt Robinson, his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, I am going to give you, I'm going to go with Adam Edstrom for the New York Rangers, going for 3 games in a row with a goal. The work ethic's been off the charts. That line, and Carrick's a good choice too, but I'm going to go with Adam Edstrom officially because he's on the 2-game streak, I should say, with a goal, looking for his 3rd straight. And how can you argue with this price? The same that Alex has with Seth Jones, plus 950 for Adam Edstrom of the New York Rangers. I'm going to take a shot with Adam Edstrom to make it 3 in a row with a goal, plus 950 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for this Thursday NHL slate. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
You already know what it is. We're trying to make it a dozen here with the Hawks first period over. They head on to Nashville, take on the Predators tonight. Like I said, it's been tough trying to beat Saros, but I do believe they can at least get one of those 2 goals. Doesn't matter who gets it. We just need 2 or more within the first 20 minutes of play. Blackhawks, Predators, first period over 1.5, minus 120 is my best bet for this Thursday night.
There you go. Why not? Looking for 12 in a row with Chicago first period over. Chicago, Nashville over 1.5 first period. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Matt, what do you like here? Best bet.
Yeah, so pre-show, I had that written down. Obviously knew that was going to be a popular one, though, so I do have a backup here. But I love that bet to continue and hopefully hit that dozen. But I'm going to take a shot. It's on ESPN, later game. We mentioned it earlier, out in Denver. Give me the first period over in the Edmonton, Colorado game. Again, Edmonton's on a back-to-back. They did have to travel, but they had a nice 5-3 win last night. I do think, maybe they'll have some momentum early and then things will slow down. In Colorado, they can score 2 goals alone at home on any given night. So first period over 1.5 in Denver between the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. That'll be my best bet.
All right, there we go. Edmonton and Colorado over 1.5 in the first period. Best bet here for Matt Robinson for this Thursday slate. My best bet for this Thursday card, a lot of really good choices. Here in the going into this game here, or going into this Thursday night. I am going to go with, I think I've settled on the San Jose Columbus over 6 minus 120. I'm going to go with that. Sharks Jackets over 6 minus 120. Like I said, we've got Georgiev versus Merzlikins. We have a strong series history to the over. 14 of 18, I believe, Jacket home games have gone over the total. So let's rock with that. San Jose, Columbus over 6 minus 120 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you tomorrow on Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.